What's up, everybody? No Comment Gaming here. Today I want to show how to use the TDC on U-Boat. I watched a couple of YouTube videos. These are gurus that have been playing the game a long time. It's either it was overly complex what they were talking about, I just couldn't understand it, or they were just speaking with a heavy accent where I couldn't understand, where I had to keep rewinding, and at the end of the day I still didn't get it. So I decided to make my own tutorial of my blood, sweat, and tears of actually reading their long PDF and also going on Google and researching how TDCs worked in real life, along with watching footage of people actually using these. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so this is a TDC. Now that I have my game paused, let's go into breaking down what this is. Don't worry. This will be overly simplified, and by the end of this video, you will be able to sync whoever and whatever you want in this game. You can even play on the hardest difficulty because I'm going to show an example at the end of everything I'm teaching you right now. So let's start with the basics. What is a TDC? A TDC is an analog computer used in World War II German U-boats to calculate torpedo firing solutions. It takes into account various factors such as the U-boat speed, the target speed, distance, and angle to determine the best time and direction to launch torpedoes. All right, I slowed down time for this. Let's make this super simple. Let's start from top left and make our way to the right. All right, so first we're going to look at this right here, salvo spread. Now, what is a salvo spread? Salvo spread is the angle between torpedoes when firing multiple torpedoes at once. The optimal salvo spread is between 2 and 10 degrees, with 4 to 6 degrees being considered the most effective, as it provides good coverage without spreading the torpedoes too far apart. All right, let's move on to the third thing now, the target length. What is target length for the salvo? Target length is the estimated length of the enemy ship, which is used to calculate the spread of the torpedo salvo. The optimal target length setting depends on the size of the ship being attacked, with larger ships requiring a greater spread to increase the chances of a hit. All right, making our way down here, we have the torpedo launch lever. What is the torpedo launch lever? The torpedo launch lever is used to initiate the torpedo launch sequence. It should only be activated after the TDC has calculated the correct firing solution and all other settings are properly configured. All right, so let's recap. So far, we've talked about the TDC, which is this whole entire thing. We've talked about the salvo spread. We've talked about the target length for the ship. And we talked about the torpedo launch lever. Now let's move to this center area where we will talk about the target bearing. So this is the dial for the target bearing where you can switch here. Now let me explain this. The target bearing display. What is the target bearing display? What does the arrow mean? What you see right here. What does this little red box mean? Well, the target bearing display shows the current bearing to the target, which is the arrow, and the target's bearing at the moment of firing, which is the box. When the arrow and the box are lined up like this, let's go ahead and move this up, a little bit down some. Okay, so when the arrow and the box are lined up like this, it indicates that the U-boat is on the correct course to launch torpedoes at the target. All right, let's go ahead and move up here to the top, the torpedo speed dial. What is the torpedo speed dial? The torpedo speed dial allows the commander to set the speed of the torpedoes. German torpedoes had speeds ranging from 30 to 44 knots, with 30 to 35 knots considered optimal for balancing speed and range. All right, and moving on down to the gyro angle display. What is the gyro angle display? The gyro angle display shows the angle between the U-boat's heading and the torpedo's initial course. The optimal gyro angle depends on the target's bearing, speed, and distance as calculated by the TDC, so it's automatic. Don't worry about this. And under the gyro angle display, we have the parallax mode dial. What is the parallax mode dial for? The parallax mode dial allows the commander to select the appropriate parallax correlation mode based on the U-boat's periscope and torpedo tube configuration. All right, continuing on the parallax, to the right of it, we have the parallax correction dial, and we also have the parallax correction display. What is the parallax correction dial for? The parallax correction dial compensates for the apparent displacement of the target due to the distance between the U-boat's periscope and torpedo tubes. Proper parallax correction is essential for accurate torpedo aiming, especially at close ranges. All right, and moving down, we have the distance to target. This is self-explanatory, but what is distance to target dial for? The distance to target dial is used to input the estimated distance to the target, which is crucial for the TDC to calculate the correct firing solution. Accurate distance estimation is key to successful torpedo attacks. All right, and moving on down here to the left, we have the deflection angle display. What is the deflection angle display for? The deflection angle display shows the angle between the U-boat's heading and the torpedo's course after launch. It is calculated by the TDC based on the gyro angle and parallax correction. All right, and moving on to the right, we have the angle on bow and then the angle on bow dial. What is the angle on bow for? The angle on bow, or AOB, display shows the angle between the target's heading and the line of sight from the U-boat. An AOB of 90 to 130 degrees is considered optimal for torpedo attacks. All right, and moving on to the right, we have the targeted ship speed and the targeted ship speed dial. What is targeted ship speed for? The targeted ship speed dial allows the commander to input the estimated speed of the enemy ship. Accurate target ship speed estimation is essential for the TDC to calculate the correct lead angle for the torpedoes. The optimal setting depends on the commander's best estimate of the target speed. All right, and last but not least, the bottom right, we have the bearing knob. What is the bearing knob for? The bearing knob allows the commander to switch between manual input of the target data and automatic tracking of the target using the U-boat's periscope, the UZO, or the targeting optics, UCO. When in automatic mode, the TDC continuously updates the firing solution based on the target's movement. And that looks like this. If I unpause, this means it is off when it's up. When you see this light, that means it's off. That means everything is manual. If it is down, that means the TDC is in control and it's automatic. Okay, I might as well talk about the torpedo fire control boxes over here to the left. If we click on that, this is in the command section of the sub. So you have active bearing transmitter. So this is how the TDC is receiving its information. You can either have it on the attack periscope, or you can have it on the observation periscope, or you can have it on none, which means it automatically detects which one you're using and updates the TDC that way. The targeting gyro angle for the torpedoes could be the bow, which is the front, or you can have it off. Next, you have the launch modes. You could launch tube 1 only, tube 2, tube 3, or salvo, which means you're launching a spread, or you could just have it off. Off means you're not using anything. Salvo type, we have it off, or you can shoot tubes 1, 2, and 3, all 3 at once, or you can shoot these 2 at once, 1 and 3, or you can shoot these 2 at once, 2 and 3, or you can shoot these 2 at once, 1 and 2. Next, we have the active launch lever. This is off. If you have it to bridge, that means you are able to actively use this to fire torpedoes. Let's put that on off right now. Next, we have the bow torpedo launcher. This is in front of the ship. You have your torpedo tubes. You have tube 1 here to the right. To the left is tube 2. And to the bottom is tube 3. If we go up here, this is where the bow box is. We have the salvo spread, as we know, which will be updated from the TDC. The gyro angle, which will be updated from the TDC. And then we also have down here the selected salvo type. Which one are we using? And then we also have the manual. If you want a manual salvo, manual gyro, or just automatic. Leave this in automatic. Next, we have the salvo spread. Remember, this is the bearing, and this is the way the telescope or your scope is facing. Next here, if you want to increase it faster or slower, you can do it here. If you right press, it decreases the gyro faster. If you left press, it increases the gyro faster. And that is basically all there basically is for the TDC. Next, let's go into showing what this looks like in action. So a quick recap before we do a live demonstration, and then I'll give 2 bonus tips at the end of this recap. We talked about the TDC, we talked about the salvo spread, the torpedo launch lever, the target length, torpedo speed dial, gyro angle display, parallax mode dial, parallax correction dial, distance to target, deflection angle display, angle on bow, targeted ship speed, bearing knob, and then I explained what the other control surfaces or instruments were inside the sub. Now for the bonus round. Here are 2 quick tips. First tip, what is the optimal distance for torpedo attacks? The optimal distance for torpedo attack depends on various factors such as the type of torpedo, the speed of the target, and the U-boat's position. However, the typical engagement range for a German World War II U-boat was between 500 to 1,000 meters. At this distance, the torpedoes would have a good chance of hitting the target while minimizing the risk of being detected and counterattacked. Next, what is another good tip? What is the optimal angle for torpedo attacks? The optimal angle for torpedo attacks is between 90 to 130 degrees relative to the target's heading. This angle, known as the angle on bow or AOB, ensures that the target presents a large profile to the torpedoes, increasing the chances of a hit. Additionally, attacking from the side or slightly behind the target makes it harder for the enemy ship to detect the U-boat and take evasive action. Now let's get into a live demonstration. All right, so everything we learned about the TDC, let's put this into place. I loaded up this save because we're in the right path. So we are about at a, if we start from the front of our bow here, we're about at a 90 degree where we want to hit, but we don't. We want a little bit more than 90. So we're going to try to aim somewhere right there in order to be able to get what I'm trying to do. So let's go ahead and put a ruler for about 4 kilometers out. Looks good. And then we want to be at least about 1,000 meters away. Let's go ahead and send them to periscope depth. How far is this ship away from us currently right now? He is about 6.6 kilometers away. So we have time to get this attack in. So while we're going to periscope depth, let's go ahead and make our second in command operate the TDC. You need someone to operate the TDC in order for you to be able to use the TDC. All right, so we're going to periscope depth. Let's make our commander go to the observation or attack. He's already on an attack periscope, so that's good. So let's go ahead and speed up time here. Let's go ahead and, oh, you can't go that fast when you're under. Let's go right here. And then we're going to stop once we reach right, boom, here. All right, let's go ahead and pause. So now if we press, go to our captain, he should be on the attack periscope, right? Jeez Louise, that was so close. All right, so where is it? There we go. Attack periscope. If we're looking for this guy, he should be somewhere off. If we pull out the bearing tool, he should be around 305, I would say. So let's look for 305. So if we come over here to 305, a little bit more. Okay, the waves are in the way. Let's unpause. Boom, there he is. Got him. We're going to go ahead and lock him. Now, I already entered in this information when I first called him the first time, so I already know his speed and all of that, but we're going to do that right now while you're here. So since we can't see, we're going to lift up our scope. The attack scope as high as it could go. We have to recognize this ship, which is an Empire Explorer. So we're going to recognize that. Next, what we want to do is, which is might be a little bit tricky, we're going to tell our engineer to improve depth keeping. Of course, Captain. Him improving depth keeping will keep us more calm in these rocky waters. So while he does that, so now he's going to do depth keeping. Next, we want to get the velocity of the ship. So we're going to unpause, and when it unpauses, I'm going to try to clock. Here we go. Unpause. Wait, I didn't start it. My bad. Then we're going to then unpause. Okay, so when we unpause it, we're going to run the clock. Boom. It's starting. See how fast he's going. I'm gonna wait for the bow to get all the way to the back. It's gonna be anywhere from 6 to 7 knots, I'm guessing. Nice and close and personal. Just a little bit more. Come on, baby. See how smooth it is? That's because I got my engineer working the improved depth keeping, so we're not all over the place. Hopefully I could see before the wave comes up. And boom. So we got that. Boom, 6 knots like I had before. So now let's go ahead and lock back onto him. So when you lock back onto him, the TDC is now in auto mode, as you see with this light off, which means my scope is pointing 309, the bearing is 309, and everything is matched up. Most of this is auto calculated. When I'm not actually inputting this. Whenever I click on, let's go back to this. When I click on this,
update speed 6 knots.
I just told my second in command to update. He did. He entered in 6 knots, as you see. That's why this light comes on. That means it's synced. Now the angle on bow. To get this, I'm trying to figure out which direction this guy is going. For angle on bow, I pull out the protractor. I go from tip of mine to the point where I want to shoot, and then I go out. Remember, the best angle was 90 to 130. It's 103, which is good. So we're going to enter in angle on bow 103.
Update AOB 60 bow right.
The reason why it's not a 103 is because I'll explain it this way. Angle of bow is what this ship sees. So this ship is right here, right? We are 60 degrees from him this way. See, you can't even see us. We're 60 degrees from the way he faces. So our angle of bow is 103, but his is 60. So we're somewhere there. We're going to be somewhere there when we fire. That's how that works. Okay, so now we got that. We updated that. Now distance. Let's go ahead and get the distance real quick. Oops, did not mean to do that. Distance is about 1,200 meters. And let's try another reading. I don't think we're actually that close. So let's try this one more time. Can't see. I'm guessing here maybe. About 1,000. So let's go ahead and tell him to update this.
Update distance.
I'm doing this paused.
1024 meters.
I'm doing this paused so you can see it, but in real time, if I'm playing the game, I would probably be fast. But anyway, let's make sure torpedo 1 is good and torpedo 2 is good. And then we're going to wait for that. While we're waiting for that, you never want this to go over 50 because then that'll be bad. All right, so we want to see the draught of this ship. It's 8.9 meters. So I'm going to do half of that and put it at 4, which means it's going to hit under the water line. And the way I do that is when you go to the torpedoes, you choose the depth, and I usually choose 4. So we're waiting right now for our engineers to get everything ready. And once they get it ready, then we're good. Angle on bow should still be the same.
Parameters update. AOB 66 bow right.
Because he's still heading that way, so it's all good. Come on. Didn't sink. Let's make sure that it's still right. Let's get the protractor out. Let's go ahead and pause. Oops, see, look at that. I was off. That's why you got to pay attention. Let's get this protractor back out. Let's put it directly on that line. Make sure it's a straight line. So many lines here. Straight line on it. Boom. 107 now. Now we're at 107. So let's go ahead and update that. Bearing is 107.
Attack parameters update. Angle on bow, 7-1 right.
All right, now it's locked.
Torpedo and tube 2 maintained.
Let's go ahead and
Tube
flood.
2.
Disperse about 85 meters. That's not too bad, I guess. I'm just waiting on Torpedo 1 to come. He's still, obviously I have this on so you can see a visual representation. If you want to play on hard difficulty, you will not see this. But basically, we're trying to fire when we get to about right there. Everything looks good so far. Just waiting for Torpedo 1. Let's speed up a little bit. Come on. Boom, flooded.
Flood tube 1.
And he's getting in position.
Tube 1 flooded.
All right. Just waiting now. Angle on bow should be one last angle on bow update. When I'm gonna do it right when he gets to where we need to be. That way you guys can understand how it's updating while you're doing that. Anyway, let me go ahead and delete this line too so I don't confuse you guys. But anyway, I'm giving the, come on. All right, so I'm gonna give the angle on bow right as he gets into our spread. Let's get out of this. Angle on bow, pull out the, oops, wrong thing. Pull out the protractor. Where are we at? We're right here. Boom. 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 116.
Update. AOB 9-8 right.
And once that turned greens, I'm launching. It's green.
Fire.
Fire. All three were launched. Let's go ahead and see our handiwork of how good it did. Can I? Yeah, I could go right here. All right. They look like they're good. 0.85 spread. Gonna be interesting. I will speed it up, but I want the intenseness of it. But basically, if I hit this, you guys can do this too. This was so hard for me to understand. Let me move this out the way. This was so, yeah, you could, if you like press these and left click and drag, you could keep it, which is cool because I like that. But like, if I could figure this out, you can too. I really like this game and I wanted to play on hard difficulty, but I was like, I need to learn how to do all of this. It looks like all three are going to hit. So if I can hit all three, you guys can hit all three. Here we go, baby. Let's go back to CR. We see it right here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see.
It's a hit.
One hit.
Fire on board. It's a hit.
2 hits. Come on.
Serious damage. Serious damage.
Let's go. 3 hits in a row, baby. 3 hits
damage.
in a row. If I can do it, you can do it. It just takes a bunch of studying, and I wanted to make this video so anyone can learn how to do this. And I hope that this video was helpful, and it's probably the best tutorial. No, you know what? I'm gonna be confident. This is the best tutorial on YouTube how to use the TDC for the 2024 full release beta, 2024.1 full release beta. But hopefully nothing changes, so when they release it, it's kind of still the same. But yeah, I am No Comment Gaming. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel because I really want to make a series out of this. And I just love the feedback that I get from people watching my videos. But anyway, without further ado, thank you for watching. Be blessed.